Rev up your engine! Today I'm going to tell you the truth about Toyota oil sludge problems in their engines and oil burning problems. Now sure, Toyota makes great cars, but like any manufacturer, they've had screw-ups. And they had problems with both oil sludge that led to engine damage and plain old-fashioned oil burning because the pistons and the piston rings were poorly made and wore out too fast. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is the oil sludge problem. Engine oil, after prolonged exposure to heat and the explosions and chemical reactions inside an engine, can break down and create sludge, gunk. Now when I was a young mechanic, this was a big problem because they started out with just plain old oil. It had no detergent in it, and so the sludge would all go on the bottom and clog everything up. But for ages they've had detergent oil, and the purpose of the detergent is to keep all the crud in suspension, so instead of making sludge, it flows through the system and stays in the oil that you change when it's dirty. Now the Toyota oil sludge problem occurred in some of the engines before 2003. We're building up too much sludge, and I personally have seen V6 Toyota engines go bad because of this. And in respect to this, in 2007, Toyota settled a class action lawsuit. They said that they would repair Toyota engines for free, which if you ask me is kind of a sleazy deal, because if you had a 97, that was 10 years before this agreement, so you wouldn't get anything out of them then. And the last one covered 2002, since that was 2007. Basically, you were only getting 3 years more warranty on the thing. Kind of a raw deal if you ask me. As you can see here, it covered a whole range of vehicles. You can read them as they go down here. You can even look it up yourself if you want. It covered quite a few Toyota and Lexus vehicles. And realize in Toyota's behalf, the vehicles that people did complain about are less than 1% failure. So it's not like they all do it. Even if you bought a used one, I've had many customers buy those used ones on the list. They had no problems with oil consumption. Personally, on this oil sludge thing, I think quite a bit of it had to do with the owners not properly maintaining their cars. In my own personal experience of customers' cars that I maintain correctly, change the engine oil and filter every 5,000 miles, none of them had sludge problems. Now, if you do have one of these engines and you're worried, go by the extreme service precaution. Like some of them will say, change it every 5. Well, me, I do mainly stop and go city driving, so mine's always extreme. And I actually change mine every 3,000 miles, or once a year, and usually it's once a year because I don't even drive that anymore. Now, the second problem I'm going to talk about here is Toyota engines and excessive oil consumptions. Now, as they age, all cars are going to burn some oil. Even my old 94 Celica, hey, it burns a little bit of oil, but it's got 240,000 miles on it. It burns about half a quart every 3,000 miles, but I never add it because I don't even drive 3,000 miles in a year anymore, so I just change the oil once a year and leave it at that. Now, since Toyota engines are used to near perfection in their vehicles, I've seen them where, yeah, they'll burn a quart of oil maybe every 1,000, 1,200 miles. They're not like the Chryslers and Mitsubishis that you see. They'll burn 2 or 3 quarts of oil a week because they're really worn. But for a Toyota, even that's too much oil consumption. Now, even I've had customers that they're driving, and when it's idling, their oil pressure light comes on. They find out the oil's too low. You burn a quart of oil, say every 1,200 miles or so, and you go to the dealer and they say, oh, that's normal. Or GM's been saying that for years. It may be normal for a particular vehicle as it wears, but it's not normal for a well-built engine to use that much oil. Sure, it's a minor pain in the butt adding oil every once in a while, but it's worse than that, because modern cars have catalytic converters, oxygen sensors. That's all in the exhaust system. And if you get a lot of oil burning, the oil is going to burn, and that residue is going to clog up the oxygen sensors. It's going to ruin the catalytic converters. And let's say you got a car that's got 3 catalytic converters. It can cost you $2 to $3 grand to have them all replaced. Not a cheap fix, so you really don't want an oil burning engine these days. It's not like the old days. In the early 70s, a friend of mine got the neighbor's car for $1. And they gave it to him for $1. And that thing went through a quart of oil every 50 miles. was an old Ford. So he just carried 4 or 5 quarts of oil in a trunk, and when he needed it, he'd pour the oil in. No catalytic converter, a simple carburetor. Those things actually could run quite some time. The only thing he had to do was, when the spark plugs would carbon up and get all clogged and out of fire, you just take out the 8 spark plugs and put 8 new ones in. But modern cars are so much more complex. You really can't drive them when they're burning oil, especially that type of oil. Now, for this oil burning issue, in 2011, Toyota issued this bulletin. 2006 to 2011 Toyotas with the 2AZ/FE engine have excessive oil consumption and may have misfire codes because of this oil consumption. Now, that's a 4-cylinder engine. You see a lot of them in the 4-cylinder Camrys. But their warranty, again, was kind of a sleazy one. It wasn't a recall, it was a TSB, a technical service bulletin. Their thing was, you could bring it in and they test your engine, and if you drive your car 1,200 miles and bring it back and it's more than a quart low on oil, then they decided they were going to replace the pistons and the piston rings on it. This only lasted for 60 months or 60,000 miles. The original factory warranty, which is kind of a sleazy deal, really. They wouldn't even do it on this old thing that has 240,000 miles. It only burns half a quart every 3,000 miles. And they were saying it has to burn more than a quart every 1,200 miles. Kind of a raw deal there again. Now, I did have customers that had piston rings and the pistons replaced on ones that had less than 60,000 miles and were less than 60 months old. But I also have customers that they're still driving theirs and they burn oil, and they burn a quart every 1,000 or 800 miles. Toyota didn't fix it for them. They said, oh no, you're out of the period. I recently had a customer of mine bring one in to service, and she said, it's making this noise when I start it up and it goes away. So I checked the engine oil and there was nothing on the dipstick, and when I changed it, only half a quart of oil came out instead of 4 quarts. You only had half a quart of oil left, and she said, oh well, you know, I just had the oil changed in June, which was July, August, September, October. 4 months ago. So she thought it was good. I said, no, you got an older car now, well past any of their warranty period. I said, you got to check the oil every once in a while and add it as it burned. She's lucky it didn't destroy the engine. So if you have one of these vehicles, got a lot of mileage, you want to check your oil every once in a while and put it in as it goes out. And here's a list of the engines that are covered on the top and then on the bottom. And like I said, Toyota on these piston and piston ring engines decide that they'll replace them for 5 years or 60,000 miles, the original factory warranty. But that's kind of a raw deal. They're pretty much admitting they weren't built correctly, and they're not standing behind them all. They should say, hey, you want one of these things? We'll replace them free regardless. That's something they should have done. But I guess due to the millions of cars they made with these engines, they don't want to give away billions of dollars fixing them for free. Just saying, well, it's under the factory warranty, because legally that's all they have to do. Now, in the past, I used to tell people, when they ask about car warranties, I said, don't worry about the car warranty itself. Worry about whether it's built or not. Go buy a Toyota, then since they don't break, you don't care about the warranty. Well, in this case, you do have to worry about the warranty on those engines. Now, they don't make those particular engines anymore. The new ones haven't had any problems with excessive oil consumption. They redesigned them and they built them better. But they did make mistakes then, and although they admitted a little bit, their true admission was, hey, yeah, we kind of screwed up and we'll fix it for 60,000 miles. After that, it's your buck that's going to pay for it. And really there, they did a misservice to their owners. I mean, my son, 2007 Camry, and yes, it burns oil. Toyota refused to fix it for free because it had too many miles on it. It's got less than half of what my Celica has. What would you rather have? An old one like this that burns half a quart every 3,000 miles, or one that today is burning about a quart of oil every 900 miles. So now you know the truth about Toyota oil sludge and oil consumption. And especially if you're looking at a used Toyota, check out that list I gave. Don't buy it used, or take it to a mechanic to do a wet and dry compression test to see if the engine was still in tip-top shape, or whether it's an oil burner and you're not going to buy that one used. 2007 to 11 Toyota Camry Hybrid. 2007 to 2009 Toyota Camry. 2009 Toyota Corolla. 2009 Toyota Matrix. 2006 to 2008 Toyota RAV4. 2007 to 2008 Toyota Solera. 2007 to 2009 Scion TC. And 2008 to 2009 Scion XB. Or of course, if you're a do-it-yourself type of guy, since most of them are 4-cylinder engines, just take out all the spark plugs and look at them. And if they've got carbon buildup on the spark plug tips and it's all black, don't buy the car. It's that simple. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.